Being a good dancer doesn't necessarily mean that you are a good follower in social dancing or partner dancing. And that's why today I'm going to share with you my 6 top tips on how to become the best follower you can be in social dancing, including all levels and all the social dances such as bachata, salsa, zuki, zumba, tango, swing, you name it. All right, are you ready? Let's talk. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Dalia and I am your dance bestie. So today we're talking about how to become the best follower you could be in social dancing, and we're gonna go straight to point number 1. So point number 1 is know the rules of the game. Like in anything you want to do, you want to be very aware of what you're getting into, right? And let me give you an example, and that's going to explain why this is my rule number 1. Well, let's say you're learning salsa. If you're learning salsa, you want to know the rules. You want to know if you're learning salsa on 1 or on 2, because they are both different. If I'm learning salsa on 1, I know that as a follower, I am going to start on the beat number 1 of the song, yeah, all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know that the count is going to be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Yes, and I know also that I am going to be dancing in a slot. Yes, so if I happen to get lost, those 3 rules are going to help me tremendously. Yes. Number 2, work on yourself. This is probably going to be the longest one, but hang in there with me, because this is the most important one. Without this one, then if you cannot work on yourself as an individual, then you cannot dance in partnership. Okay? All right. So that being said, I'm going to break it down into a few points, which is first point is work on your footwork. Even if you are a beginner or if you're intermediate or advanced, you have to know the foundation of the dance. You have to know your basics. You have to know how to turn, and all of those steps. Make sense? So there is point number 2, which is work on the technique. Once you master the footwork, then you can work on the technique, which includes, the proper body movement, the proper way of doing the footwork. Let's say if you're doing Latin dancing, that will be bull flat. If you're doing ballroom or standard, that will be a heel. So practice that technique, body movement, master your footwork. And now for point number 3, it will be styling. So styling is all, the arms, like how can you do your arms, how can you do, like, let's say you're doing salsa, you use a lot of the hair. That's a part of the styling, yeah? Now, also working on musicality. Musicality is actually the last one that comes into these points that I'm giving you. And why is that? Sorry about that. Why is that? That's because if you already are a dancer, or if you grew up with the music, that's going to be probably easier for you to work on that. But if you are new to the salsa beats, to the bachata and all of that, it's a little bit more complicated. But in the meantime, if you're a beginner, intermediate, I suggest that you start by counting. Count all the time. There is a big misconception that you don't need to count because the guy is the one that has the count. Wrong. Okay? So make sure you take responsibility for your part, you count, and then you have control of your own person as an individual. All right, I hope that helps. All right, ladies, now for tip number 3, we have understand the 2 types of connection that we have in dancing and its rules. So we have 2 types of connection. First is the body contact, which is when you're dancing with your partner, right? You're touching bodies, either if it's in close, in open, right? Or if it's in cross, cradle, whatever is touching bodies is called body contact. But there is other situations in which you are separated. You're still dancing with your partner, but not in body contact. Now, that connection, we call it visual connection. And I am going to show you an example. Let's say you're here. I'm going to now be the follower. You're here, and if I look at him, if I see that he opens, then I'm thinking, okay, well, now I need to go. Yes, but if you're not paying attention visually, you're like, well, hey, hi, and then he's like doing that. You're not paying attention visually, and you don't know what he wants. Another thing is when you're like turning and doing pretzels, and then he is like asking you for the hand here, and you're not paying attention, so you're just like la la la, right? If you were paying attention visually, then you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go there. Does that make sense? Okay, so now what do I mean by knowing its rules? Okay, the different dances require different type of connection. For salsa, it's a little bit more in the resistance, and then for bachata, it's a little bit more in the body connection, body movement connection. For zouk as well, and zouk is just more like I initiate the movement and then the follow continues the movement, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. The guy is not responsible to be dragging you around. I mean, the word says that we are a partner dancing, so in any fair partnership we have 50 and 50, so therefore you have to, as a leader, you have to know your staff. As a follower, you have to know your staff, and we both need to understand the connection. So then leader initiates the movement, follower continues the movement. There is no dragging around, and there is no such a thing as the ladies, some of my ladies, I have heard this in different occasions. But if the guy is a good leader, I can always dance. Oh, I can only dance with good leaders. Oh, I'm a good follower when the leader is good. Reality is that he's dragging you around, and reality is that it can be dangerous in different ways. It can one, hurt you because he's using force to be able to lead you. It can also be very draining for him, so you're gonna become that lady that no one wants to dance with, or the lady that you have to drag around. So you don't want that. You want to be responsible, and we go back to the other points. Remember, you have to be responsible for knowing the rules. You have to be responsible for knowing your steps and your technique, and you have to be responsible for knowing the technique and matching the technique. Make sense? Well, I hope that helps. And for number 4, for number 4, we have make following your priority. So, in other words, don't let arm styling get in the leader's way, or do not anticipate. And you know exactly what I mean. So I'm gonna give you a couple of examples. Ready? Alright, so for example, number 1, and I'm sure this had happened to all of us. It's more common when you are switching from beginner to intermediate, because you are so worried about looking good yourself, and you have all the footwork done. Now you want to be like applying the hip movement, or you want to be applying that arm styling, or let's say if it's tango, you want to be applying the leg work and all of that embellishment. So then you get to focus on that, that you are not actually paying attention to what the leader is telling you, what he's trying to lead you into. There's been certain occasions in which, let's say the leader is doing something, and then he is, I'm going to give you the same example, when he's not looking at you, and then he's asking for the hand here, right? But we are so like, oh, I learned this. Yes, so I learned this watching Dalia dance. No. So you learn this and you feel so pretty. Yes, you are pretty, but then there is a person that is dancing with you. Don't forget about him. That's why it's called partner dancing. So priority number one before you do your arm styling, look at him, see what he wants. If you cannot do any styling, then just nicely just place your hand and yes, but you have to be very aware of that. All right, now for example number two, don't anticipate. I want to show you, especially for tango and bachata, this is something that you should not do. Yes, let's pretend we're dancing bachata, right? And the guy is leading us into body rolls, and then he wants to do just another body roll, but then suddenly I had previously learned that the body roll is followed by the dip. Yeah, so if I try to dip myself and he's not ready, bang, gravity is gonna win. Yes, so don't anticipate. It's very dangerous, and not only that, it's kind of annoying for him because he was probably trying to do something beautiful with you and he's not able to do it anymore because you anticipated. Yes. Okay, now for tip number 5, make it fun. I don't know if you have felt this way, and that's why I think it applies for the two sides. I have the most fun dancing when I dance with a guy that's it doesn't have to be the best leader, it doesn't have to have the best technique, but he is having a good time, he's enjoying himself, he is really there with me, connecting in those 3 minutes of the song. So I feel like if I feel that way when I dance with other guys, and believe me, a lot of my students have told me the same thing. A lot of my colleagues, they prefer to dance with someone that is having fun than with the best technique dancer ever. So I apply that also for the followers. And I have heard that from my students as well. You don't have to be the best dancer, but as long as you are committing to this person and connecting with this person in a deeper level, then you're gonna be that dancer that every guy wants to dance with, because who doesn't want to have a good time? Who doesn't want to enjoy themselves, right? And now for number 6, roll drums. Okay, never stop learning. This takes me to back to a friend I know for years and years, and he always wears a shirt that says, "I'm a beginner. I'm just a beginner," and he's been dancing probably for about 30 years, and I think that's very beautiful because it's a very humbling feeling, you know, that it doesn't matter how much you never know enough. So never stop working on yourself, never stop learning, never think you know it all, because there is always room for growing. And even if you're just specializing in one dance, if you want to learn other dances, they will all be helpful for the dance that you're specializing on. Now with the bonus, because you stayed all the way until the end, I'm gonna give you some bonus tip, which is learn how to lead. And you're gonna be like, but I have too many things to learn already, and you want me to learn how to lead? Well, let me tell you one thing. It's not until you put yourself in someone else's shoes that you can really feel and acknowledge and know what the other person really needs. Yes, so I'm telling you this by experience. When I started learning how to lead, I was like, oh, a lot of things click in my head, and I was like, oh, so this is what, oh, so now I get it. So believe me, if you want to be the ultimate follower, then give yourself the challenge of learning how to lead. You don't have to become an expert, but you just have to understand the other side, and that will be big treasure for you. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you feel like it was useful, please go ahead and share, because sharing is caring. And don't forget to show some love by liking and subscribing to my channel and clicking on the notification button so you won't miss a thing. And I love to hear from you, so comments are welcome. Alright ladies, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.